Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner. I'm Dan Delatorre. Thanks for joining us this evening. One of the many aspects of collecting, at least in my realm, there's several aspects, but one I've always gravitated towards is the heavyweights when they go at each other. You've got Thor, you've got Thing, you've got the Hulk, you've got Hercules, Iron Man, several others, and those are always very, very popular. They have been with me. But currently, because of the MCU and its direction that it's gone into, and it seems to be zigzagging. I don't really understand why they're doing what they're doing, because what they should be doing, in my opinion, is dovetailing what they were given by Marvel. They've got, again, I've said this countless times, behind me is tens of thousands of stories that are already there and they were popular. So if you can transfer those to the big screen, that's where you gain success. Probably the best case scenario was the first Iron Man back in 2008. But back to the heavyweights. I've looked on eBay, did some research here, and a lot of these ones currently haven't moved up in value. And one of the things you should be doing is when you're collecting, especially with the monetary component, buy where nobody's looking. There's lots of great books that people have forgotten about. I'm certain maybe you've seen, maybe you've forgotten about them. And I just want to profile. I'm going to rapid fire these because I've got several to show you here for your consideration. These are all, for the most part, pretty reasonably priced. Great stories, fun stories, interesting stories. I showed this when Jerry Conway had passed away. It's worth showing again, and that's Giant Size Superstars #1, Thing versus Hulk battle. But it was a very unique spin. Jerry Conway was a very, very creative person, to say the least, and he did a very different take on this Thing versus Hulk battle. That one, I think I paid $60 for it. It's a 7.5 white pages. Get the raw copy though, because it's worth the story. I have several copies, including that one here. One that I guess I probably should have shown this in the last video with my high profile comics, because this is my best one here. And it is Incredible Hulk #131, the classic Iron Man versus Hulk. You can see General Ross and Major Talbot in the back. The Hulk is seemingly knocked out, and Iron Man is dealing with him as best he can. An underrated book, a very underrated book. And I got this one a very high grade, 9.4 white pages. I also have an 8.5 white pages, which I didn't pay that much for, but gorgeous cover, pretty good story for the most part, and people are not talking about it. Again, this is sort of a rapid fire segment. One that this really surprises me because I just got off from eBay, as I said, and I looked at this one here, and this is one of the classics. And the value of this, I think, is really underrated. And that's Fantastic Four #25, the classic Jack Kirby Thing versus Hulk battle. I paid, what did I pay, $300 for this? It hasn't moved. It's still roughly around that price, or maybe I paid less than that. But anyway, this is something nobody's really talking about. Now with the Thing finally in the MCU, and of course the Hulk has been there for a while, it's simply a matter of time before these two square off. And it may be, who knows if they're going to dovetail with this storyline or a few others that I'm going to profile in a little bit. But getting this classic for a reasonable price, there's one on sale right now it's a 5.5 off-white pages. For the current bid is about $300. So I think that's a steal. Another one, The Destroyer. First appearance of the Destroyer in Journey to Mystery 118. The Destroyer is an underrated character, unbelievably powerful, a construct of Odin. We saw him in the first Thor movie. This is a great, great battle, and one you should really consider. Doesn't cost that much. Again, these are all $50, $100, $75. You can get low-end reader copies for, $25, $30 range if you look hard enough. Here's more of a modern one, Iron Man versus the Hulk in Iron Man 131. You should also get Iron Man 132 for the storyline for this one. Here's yet another Thor versus the Destroyer. Again, these are classic Stan Lee and Jack Kirby stories. You simply can't go wrong, because when Stan Lee is behind the wheel regarding the storyline, this is what Marvel was intended to do. In other words, everyone tried to emulate what Stan Lee was writing and his vision. When he's behind the pen, writing down what's supposed to happen with Jack Kirby at his side, I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. So these are worth your money. This is not a bad copy. These are 30 bucks. Not terribly expensive. I'm not saying get them all at once. There's another one that I have here. This is heavily tanned, but I wish I had a better copy, but it's still okay. This is towards the tail end of the Tales to Astonish run. Tales to Astonish number 100, when the Submariner goes up against the Hulk. Those two always fight. They love to fight. They always squared off with each other. It was always fun, always interesting. Great classics here. Here's another one everyone has seen, and I'm just going to bring this one out. I got this a while ago. I paid about 200 bucks for it, and I talked about it in the last video, the value of white pages, and this one here is worth it. And this is Fantastic Four number 112. This is a classic Stan Lee, John Buscema cover. This is, in my view, the most beautiful incarnation of the Thing. I've never seen anyone better, any illustration better than this here. And this is a 5.0 white pages. I paid, like I said, 200, but if you can find it in white pages, that's what you're looking for. And also, keep an eye on the market, because a few years ago, the market took a dip. And so some of these higher end ones went down with them. And when it did, and I saw the opportunity, I was able to upgrade. So I've got a 7.5 white pages. Absolutely gorgeous book. Again, you can't go wrong with these. No question about it. This is, again, Stanley Story, John Buscema artwork. And again, these are just gorgeous with the white pages. Always remember that. Something very similar, if you've seen that book, you probably have seen this one. And I have a mid-grade off-white to white pages, and I have several raw copies. And same with the Fantastic Four number 112. I've got lots of raw copies, but I've got a few slabs I wanted to profile here. When that same dip in the market came down, this came, the opportunity presented itself to get this one. This is yet another John Buscema cover, very similar to the Fantastic Four book, and that's Submariner number 8, Thing versus Submariner. Great story, great battle. And again, the black cover with FF12 and this Submariner 8, not easy to get in high grade. 8.5 white pages is fantastic. I don't think I paid more than $350 for it. I think it's gone up in value now, and they will. Because again, all these characters are finally starting to, they're at least appearing. And in my view, it's a matter of time before the MCU finally puts these teams together. And this is the reason why I already showed you this one, your nice raw copy of the Iron Man and Hulk. Here's one you probably haven't thought about. And these two here, and it's Incredible Hulk number 152. And you can see the Fantastic Four, and who else is in there? Daredevil, Captain America's in there. And I won't spoil the storyline for it. The artwork's different. It's, who is it? Herb Trimp, which I like Herb Trimp, but Herb Trimp was also working with John Severin. In my personal view, John Severin, I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, he was not the best artist. He was a little crude with his artwork and his approach. His wife, Marie Severin, was a far better artist. I'm sorry, that's just my honest opinion. But you have to get the second one, because this is where the real battle comes in. It's a great story. So Hulk 153, this is actually not a bad copy with the black border. I've only got maybe one or two spine ticks, not much. It's in beautiful condition. And that's the other thing, just keep an eye on these things. These are not very expensive. These are not very expensive, and these are just classic reads. But again, nobody's thinking about them. I mean, when's the last time you've seen one? Have you thought about it? The old adage, as I said, is if you're going to buy something, buy where people are not looking. Right now, people are looking at Absolute Batman 1. People are looking at Ghost Rider, as I talked about in the last video right now. Don't think about that right now, because the prices are going. If you don't have those issues, the fact is you're probably not going to get them unless you pay the premium, because again, people are talking about it. But people are not talking about things like this. Here's a couple of very inexpensive ones. This is Thing versus Hulk battle, one of my absolute favorites. The Thing had always lost. I'm going to spoil alert for you guys. The Thing had always lost to the Hulk for obvious reasons. He wasn't as strong as the Hulk. But Ben Grimm was just tenacious. And this was a Steve Englehart story. And who's the artist on this one? But it's Fantastic Four number 320. The Thing, who becomes more powerful than the Hulk, who becomes the Gray Hulk and much less powerful. The Thing actually wins. It's a great story. Sorry for the spoiler alert. But again, this is Steve Englehart, one of my favorite writers. alongside with Stan Lee, really put this one together. Very inexpensive. I got several of these, all in high grade, and I think I have a 9.6 white pages somewhere. Speaking of inexpensive battles, with the Thing versus Hulk, there were so many Thing versus Hulks, and there's more. I didn't bring out all of them, but there's countless more. Fantastic Four number 166. This is a great battle. And you have to get the follow-up issue, 167. It was yet another unique take on this duo going at each other. Because again, there are countless stories where they throw a bunch of punches, but this was a really weird and interesting twist, worth getting it. And here's a quick side note. When I started buying my comics back in 1976, the first book I bought was Incredible Hulk 197, which I still have, by the way. And the first Fantastic Four book that I bought was 168. This came out a couple months prior before I started buying. I would have gobbled up a bunch of these things, even as a young person. I had to backtrack and get these. I have several of these, and I have a few in high grade. In fact, I've got a 9.8 of this. Yeah, it's one of the rare 9.8s I have in my collection, but this was a great fun story. Really easy on the budget. Really easy on the budget and worth having in your collection. A couple more. I had mentioned Fantastic Four 25, the classic battle with Thing versus Hulk. People sleep on this for whatever reason. They ignore this one here. And they shouldn't, because this is the culmination of that battle. And the Avengers join in with this. This is Fantastic Four 26. So if you get 25, you should get 26. And you're making a huge mistake if you don't, because the storylines dovetail with each other. And it's a great classic battle. This one here is really difficult to get in high-grade white pages. And again, I don't know how white these pages are on your side of the screen. This is an off-white to white pages. Even the white pages that I've seen on the screen, they're not terribly brilliantly white, so that's really hard to get. If you find one, get them. I had my chance on a few of them. I got priced out. I will still get an upgrade to this one at some point, but don't sleep on this one here. Great battle. 3 more here, real quick. Here's one I did a lot of research on. And Hercules, an underrated character. And that's why I've been promoting Journey to Mystery Annual number 1, his first appearance. He's a super powerful heavyweight. When he goes against Thor, I mean, this doesn't get much better than that. But this was one that is really underrated. You may never have seen this one. And it's Tales to Astonish number 79. Look at this beautiful red cover. This is, I thought this was, who was this? I thought this was Marie Severnard. No, this is, who is this? Bill Everett. Bill Everett, who created the Submariner. These are ones that have 2 stories in one. The first story is also drawn by Bill Everett, the creator of the Submariner. Both are Stan Lee stories in these. And this was just one of the best battles I've ever seen in my life. This was realistic, as I know it's comics, but regarding what you would expect. In this case, the Hulk, this is his home, storyline. And sometimes the writers favor the home character. No, these guys traded punches left and right. And I was just delighted to this day. And I have a 9.0 off-white to white pages. This one, for whatever reason, has gone up a little bit. These are a little harder to find in good condition. Certainly get your hands on, keep your eye out on this one. 2 more here. And me being the Defenders fan that I have, or that I am rather, I'd always loved this book here. And this is really inexpensive in raw grade. You can get these in slabs. I have several of these things. This is Defenders 10. Thor versus Hulk. A great classic battle. In fact, I think they took elements of this and they put that in the Avengers movie, if I remember correctly. I don't remember exactly what it was, but inexpensive, a great read. Get it slab if you can, just because. But get your raw copy of this, because the Defenders was written by Steve Englehart. The first 11 issues, I highly recommend. My favorite series of all time, even a little bit more than Secret Wars, and that's saying a lot because I loved the Secret Wars when that came out in 1984. But this is a great copy. Oh, and this is signed by Steve Englehart and Lou Ferrigno. I met Lou Ferrigno at GalaxyCon last year. That's in San Jose, which will be happening next month. Oh, by the way, I will be at GalaxyCon. If you happen to be in the San Jose area, you can meet up with me, text me, whatever, reach out to me. I'll be happy to talk to you and meet. And my daughter should be there. So anyway, that's the only one and only con I'm going to go to. The last one here, and this is, again, being a Defenders fan, an underrated key. Nobody talks about it. I've never seen it on Comic Tom or anybody else. I watch a lot of shows, and this is the predate to the Defenders series, and that's Submariner 35. Sal Buscema, very fun, colorful, great battle, great storyline. I know they say that Submariner 34 was the prelude to Defenders, but this is where the Defenders really starts. In the splash page, you'll see Submariner, Silver Surfer, and the Hulk all flying on the Silver Surfer surfboard, and they're talking about forming a team. And they called it the Titans 3. That was the original name of the Defenders. But of course, there was nothing like Doctor Strange to keep that cohesiveness together. The Surfer wasn't enough. He returns later in what is it, Defenders 2. But anyway, this is a great battle, great fun story here. You can see the powerhouses just on this cover here. And also very reasonably priced. Again, all these average from $30-ish. And if you want to pay higher grades, that's fine, which nothing wrong with that. It adds to your collection, adds to your portfolio. But again, these are battles that haven't been profiled in the MCU, and I'm guessing at some point they will, because all the components are there. It's just a matter of when this all comes down. And once the announcement comes from the MCU, that's when these things start moving. And again, the best example is the Fantastic Four 25, still unbelievably reasonably priced. That's a classic story. Now, Fantastic Four 12, which I showed in another video, that's more expensive because that's a much older book. But again, all these are worth getting without question. Let me know if you have any and what you think of these here. There's lots more I might show later on, but I didn't want to overload you with too many comics here. And what do you think of these? Do you care for these? Is this something you like? The big heavyweight battles versus street level villains like Punisher and Spider-Man, which are all great, but they don't bring the power. They don't bring this down to earth raw strength that the Hulk, Submariner, even Iron Man. He's got the Hulkbuster suit and all that. All these characters bring to the table here, and with the right writers and right artists, they're just dynamite. Everyone, that's what I have for today. Thanks for joining us, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is Dan De La Torre, and this is Comic Book Corner.